I'm just a happy camper. Rocking and a-rolling.
What is a literally me character?
I've been here the entire time, you just didn't see me.
In this series, I hope to explore this phenomenon. I believe literally me characters are examples of men struggling against the modern world and striving for some sense of masculinity. Lost souls who are unable to find healthy outlets to express themselves. Patrick Bateman seems to be the most popular of these characters at the moment. Click on 10 random YouTube videos, and chances are you'll find a Patrick Bateman avatar in the comments section of a few of them. So why is he so popular? Why is he relatable? And not only that, why is he being championed as an example of a Chad Sigma male? Let's find out. Patrick Bateman, on the surface, seems as successful as can be. He's rich, fit, and attractive. However, this facade is all that exists. As Pat himself says at the end, there is an idea of Patrick Bateman, but beneath that, there is nothing.
There is an idea of a Patrick Bateman, some kind of abstraction, but there is no real me. I simply am not there.
Patrick is but a shell. He exists in a world of forms, a world where nothing has any substance to it. Bateman is upheld as the most masculine man, but what about him is masculine at all? He has a great skincare routine.
Then I apply an herb mint facial mask, which I leave on for 10 minutes while I prepare the rest of my routine.
Is all caught up on the latest gossip.
I'm fairly certain that Timothy, Bryce, and Evelyn are having an affair.
And his mission is to get a reservation at a restaurant.
Yeah, can you take 2 tonight at, let's say 9 o'clock?
We're totally booked.
Really? That's great.
This isn't a very convincing case for masculinity. In fact, when I showed American Psycho to someone recently, she said that Patrick Bateman reminded her of Jeffree Star. Yes, Jeffree Star. Is this man really such a Chad, or have we completely lost sight of what masculinity is? Patrick Bateman is the result of an entirely material conception of masculinity. 6 feet tall, 6-pack abs, 6-figure salary. People seem to think that this is the be-all end-all, but these things ultimately should be the byproduct of masculinity, not the end in itself. Wealth should be indicative of a successful venture. But instead, in our age, wealth often indicates that you are a corporate minion or a corrupt politician. Muscles, likewise, are supposed to be an unintended result of your hard work. But now, they indicate that you have a gym membership. And I will stress that I'm not shaming those who work out or work overtime. I'm just pointing out that a lot of modern masculinity is artificial. I mentioned in the previous Literally Me video that the sun is often symbolic of masculinity. This solar striving is seen in many fictional characters, such as Luke Skywalker staring at the sunsets. He is longing for adventure, a chance to prove himself, and to reach his solar potential. Same with Solaire from Dark Souls. He admires the sun like a father and wants to live up to this masculine image.
I will stay behind to gaze at the sun. The sun is a wondrous body, like a magnificent father. If only I could be so grossly incandescent.
Patrick Bateman, however, is quite the opposite. He is not striving for a solar ideal. In fact, he has the hubris to assume that he has already reached his solar potential. However, in actuality, he is standing on the shoulders of giants. He did not build the skyscrapers that he resides in. He is not one of the men who had the solar impulse to envision and actualize the civilization that he benefits from. Nothing about Patrick Bateman is solar at all. He is fit only because he has the luxury to work out at his convenience, and he only does so to keep up appearances. As for his wealth, I actually had to Google what is Patrick Bateman's job, because I genuinely didn't know. Bateman is a Wall Street guy, and once you look into things like investment banking, mergers and acquisitions, and capital raising, once you get past all of the jargon, you realize that it exists for its own sake. It's a business maintaining business. He is making money by making money. He is essentially participating in a pyramid scheme.
Investing, the more money we're all going to make. It's not a pyramid scheme. It's not even a scheme per se.
I have to go make a call.
His job is best represented by Ouroboros, the self-eating serpent. Patrick's job is superfluous. His wealth does not indicate any masculine achievement whatsoever. The solar ideal has been forgotten. All that remains are the residual effects of masculinity, such as money and muscles, which have lost all of their original meaning in this new context. In other words, Patrick does not embody the sun or even strive towards it. He is just riding on the faded particles of sunlight. To sum it up, Patrick Bateman is walking on sunshine. While this comes off as a victory lap, indicating that he is on top of the world, he nevertheless is still dissatisfied. Without anything meaningful to strive toward, getting a reservation to Dorsia becomes his obsession, as it is the only thing that is still excluding him, given the high status level he has in this hierarchy. Dorsia itself is probably nothing special. In fact, Bateman takes a date to another restaurant and just tells her that it's Dorsia. She doesn't really buy it, but is also too drug-addled to really care. Nobody is thinking about the food of the restaurant. The allure of Dorsia lies only in its exclusivity. The card scene is another, which shows how meaningless Patrick's priorities are. He is so hung up on the most minute of details.
Look at that subtle off-white coloring. Oh my god. It even has a watermark.
Modern man cannot see the bigger picture. He is only capable of deconstructing everything down to the finest details. The greatest irony is that Patrick longs for exclusivity, yet he is nearly identical to everyone else. He even gets mistaken for other people throughout the movie, to the point that others talk about him to his face, because they don't even recognize him.
Goes out with that loser Patrick Bateman. What a dork.
In his attempts to become special, he makes himself more and more indistinguishable from his peers. Kind of ironic that Patrick himself has become an avatar of people trying to be special, yet becoming more like their peers. And I get it, the memes are funny. I've used them myself.
Their early work was a little too new wave for my taste. But when sports came out in '83, I think they really came into their own, commercially and artistically.
There is nothing inherently wrong with memeing Patrick or even relating to him. I mean, well, obviously depending what exactly you are relating to. But nevertheless, I'm putting this little disclaimer here in anticipation of the inevitable "it's just a joke, bro" type of comments. Paradoxically, arguing for your insincerity in your use of Patrick Bateman memes only makes you more like him, as he is insincere about everything that he does.
Most importantly, we have to promote general social concern, and less materialism in young people.
Now there is also an edgy factor to Bateman, that he is a serial killer, and that adds an extra dimension to the meme. However, I think this character has taken on a new life of sorts. Him being a psychotic murderer has almost become irrelevant. I think people have completely misunderstood the deeper message of American Psycho. I believe there is an understanding that Patrick is a perfect person, someone worth striving to be, and that the so-called twist of the film is how someone so perfect can also be so dark and messed up on the inside. While this is interesting in and of itself, I think this interpretation has led to the idea of Patrick being admired in isolation. Removed from the serial killer context, he's just this Giga Chad that everyone wants to be, and the humor comes from the fact that anyone who actually watched the movie, or at least is familiar with the character, knows what he's really like, and will find it funny just because people are memeing a serial killer. Or if you want to be extra based and spicy, you can act as if the serial killer context only makes him more of a Chad Sigma male, and that it makes the character even more admirable for extra comedic effect. But in actuality, Patrick Bateman is still not desirable. Or to put it in the meme speak, Patrick is a beta. The most emblematic scene of this is the Christmas party, where antlers are put on his head. While in some pagan cultures, antlers are a symbol of masculinity and virility, antlers and horns are also associated with cuckoldry. So, well, there's that.
I'm fairly certain that Timothy Bryce and Evelyn are having an affair.
Your boy is a beta cuck. I'm just kidding. But seriously, regardless, these toy antlers represent a sort of mock masculinity. Patrick is the butt of the joke. He is a beta, LARPing as an alpha. That is why he is relatable. That is why he is a literally me character. Beneath the suit and bravado, he is indistinguishable from anyone else, including you and me. Another soul lost in the darkness who cannot find the sun.
Why? After all this searching, I still cannot find it.
Patrick puts on a face, both physically and metaphysically, just like the people using Patrick's face as their own for their online avatars. Everything has become a mask in this world of forms that has been disconnected from its metaphysical roots. In this world, relationships only exist for status signals and social mobility. Work exists merely to manage and sustain this artificial system, and personal fulfillment has been reduced to bragging rights and the next superficial product. The only goal in this world of forms is to ascend the hierarchy, But ultimately, there is no true hierarchy, as everything and everyone has been leveled. Humanity has been reduced to a Tantaleian punishment, like Tantalus, who stood in a pool of water underneath a tree, yet was denied the fruits of this tree above him, as well as the ability to quench his thirst in the waters below him, forever hungry and thirsting, yet the reward always remaining just out of reach. Our occulturation continues as we ask ourselves, what's in a me?